So we start in the next 2 minutes.
Yes, sure.
Should we disable the waiting room? That way everybody can just come in.
Yes, that
Sorry?
has been done.
Yes.
I disabled the waiting room, so we don't have to admit one by one.
Yeah, so that will flash in front of your screen. So just ignore that. The admin will take care of the admin aspects.
You all look so different in our pictures, isn't it?
Correct.
So
There's a lockdown effect.
It's 3 p.m. So we commence with the webinar. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This crisis has created focus on changes that have affected three major dimensions of work: the work itself, who does the work, and where work is done. Join us in this very illuminating webinar where our experts share a broader perspective on creating values to understand what's going on and, more importantly, what we can do about it. It is important to consider multiple covering trends and how they are already fundamentally changing all aspects of work, with implications for individual, businesses, and society. HRAI welcomes you all to our next HRAI session: Work, Workforces, and Workplaces, Redefined, Renewed. Expressing my gratitude to one of the supporting bodies of HRAI, it is an honor to welcome the Secretary General of Geisha IT Association, Mr. Anupam Bhatnagar. So I would request Mr. Anupam Bhatnagar to say a few words. Mr. Anupam Bhatnagar, I believe you'll have to unmute yourself.
Yeah. So, good evening.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Peterson, to inviting us on this platform, and a very interesting platform that you are talking about today. And this is the need of the hour, I would say, the kind of thing. So, just to talk about a brief about Geisha. So, Geisha has been in this is a sector development organization and has been in this field for the last 23 years. And we have been working with various organizations, various tie-ups, which include NASCOM, as one of the main partners of that. And we have been pioneer in developing, nurturing company startups, development of technology, sector development. We have been doing various programs and events. Some of the past few events have been like Vibrant Technology and Startup Summit. And then one of the recent coming up summit program, which is coming, is called the CIO Forum, which is again a large collaborative platform, which is going to be of a great interest to the IT community, even consulting advisory firms to work through, because technology is the enablement for the future. And whether you talk about HR system, workforce, collaboration, everything is happening from today in respect of technology. So ICT, I would say, is the enable platform. And it's a very interesting forum that you have picked it up. And we definitely fully support this program and taking forward. And I hand it over to you from here. So all the good wishes for this seminar.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for all the support that you have been extending us towards HRAI. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now, before we begin with this session, we'll take a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen, to run through some of our protocol while on Zoom. Though many of you would be familiar, it is very important to follow these rules and in order to have an effective session. Kindly do not record this meeting, as this would be available on our social media pages. Request all of you to please keep your Zoom audio on mute and your videos on. Please use your full name as your screen name and not your device name as it does not allow us to identify who you are. As your video is off and your name is not mentioned, we will have to move those participants to the waiting room for security reasons. So please cooperate. It would be great to have all the participants' feedback. We will be running a poll before the Q&A session. Request all participants to kindly give your feedback on the session. HRAI is a non-profit organization and a body established to enable community members to explore, discuss, and understand the current scenarios. This team works primarily on getting subject matter experts together to share their knowledge and provide real-time strategic solutions covering all aspects of HR and other business enabling services. I now take the privilege to introduce our esteemed panel members. To begin with, our first panel member, Mr. Jaimin Shah, CEO and Managing Director, Dave Information Technology Limited. He has more than 20 years of experience in the IT industry and carries a bachelor degree in computers. He is a co-founder and managing director of one of the top 10 Gujarat-based IT companies, Dave Information Technology Limited. Chairman is focused on strengthening strategic partnership, increase client relevance, and evolving the company's business model towards becoming a next-generation global end-to-end IT service company. His key priorities are to support the organization growth, manage critical finance functions, and adhere to regulatory and compliance requirements. He is currently the chairman of IT subcommittee of FICCI, Gujarat State Council, governing council member of Ahmedabad Management Association, and trustee of Devang Mehta Foundation Trust. Jaimin was recently felicitated and honored as Digital Change Maker of Gujarat for magnanimously striving for holistic cooperation in ICT ecosystem at Geisha Digital Management Conclave DMC. Thank you, sir, for accepting our request and being part of this session. Our next panel member, Mr. Avaloi Roy, MD, Kolkata Ventures. Avaloi Roy is a serial tech entrepreneur, investor, and TV host who started his first startup at the age of 19 around his patent pending technology, which still studying computer engineering at the Illinois Institute of Technology, and turned into a multi-million-dollar valuation at the age of 22. He has built 8 multi-million-dollar worth business in the US and India. As the great-great-grandson of Sarojini Naidu, Avaloi continues the legacy forward by serving the Indian youth through entrepreneurship education using lean startup methodology and principles of Bhagavad Gita. His efforts towards Kolkata Ventures in the past 3 years have resulted in 400 plus revenue generating startup responsible for around 4,500 new jobs created in 10 states of East India, 500 plus speaking engagements in US and India, which includes White House panel for entrepreneurship education, Startup America, Invest India at Rashtrapati Bhavan, TEDx Talk, Josh Talks, and many more, with 150 plus awards in India, US, Canada, and China. Thank you, sir, for accepting our request and being part of this session. Now I'll introduce our panelist and moderator for today's event, Ms. Sandeep Puri, Chief People Officer, Sapphire Foods. Sandeep is a cultural transformation specialist, has over 22 years of experience, having worked across industries like manufacturing, media and entertainment, consulting, information technology, and retail. She has been able to successfully transform ways of working across organizations. She has handled all major functions of HRD, including leadership development and engagement, talent management, career planning, succession planning, talent acquisition, performance management, comps and benefits, HR operations, coaching and counseling, and change management. She has worked extensively on leadership coaching, ensuring visible results, have been working on intensive OD interventions across industries, experience in competency modeling, have been a facilitator for Hay Guide chart, method of job evaluation, and has acquired various certifications for coaching, corporate governance, psychometric profiling, and institutional design. She has worked extensively across geographies, including Asia Pacific, Europe, and North America. Thank you, ma'am, for accepting our invitation. Without taking much time, I would now request Ms. Sannidhi Puri to take over this session from here. Over to you, Ms. Sannidhi. Ma'am, you'll have to unmute yourself.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Peterson. Thank you for organizing such a session in these times. I think these are much needed interventions for corporate at large and HR and business people in specific, and especially when you've got business leaders and entrepreneurs who are actually making big difference to the way we work today, and obviously the current scenario that is running today, this pandemic that we are all going through. I think having these forums really helps people to step back from their day-to-day troubles that they're facing right now and look at things from fresher perspective, and then get back into it with a larger resolve and a hope that we should come out of it, and a belief obviously that we will come out of it much stronger. Thank you, Jamin and Avelo, for being here and willing to share so much that we want to know as a team together. Thank you once again. And, especially I'd like to take this opportunity to extract the maximum out of the two of you, as both of you are entrepreneurs, both of you are actually the epitome of Make in India. uh, uh, Whole it's like a agenda that the country is right now driving towards, and you guys are pioneering it for a very long time. You've successfully established yourselves, and therefore a great opportunity for all of us to learn from that perspective, from an entrepreneurial lens. And the second lens that I want to learn and have this learning for the entire forum is from a business leader perspective, from a CEO perspective. How are you seeing things transforming, and how are you seeing businesses moving forward uh, now and beyond COVID? I'm sure that is going to be a reality very soon, if not in a month or 2 months, probably by the end of the year. We will be in a position to have uh, a sight towards a new normal. And that's where, I want this panel to be able to provide that learning and that expectation from both an entrepreneur and a CEO together. And with that, I would like to, ask this question to Jamin to help us understand the founder's strategies towards the new refined, redefined work and workplaces, the way you see Jamin today and tomorrow. And when I say tomorrow, it is post-COVID or right after COVID scenario. Jamin, over to you.
Thank you, Sandhya Deep. It was a really nice session you and HRAI has organized. This is really very well required and need of an hour, because we all know that we are all connected through a digital world, but then there is a missing link, which is our emotional connect is missing during this pandemic time and connecting through a digital world. And most of the company, they are all their HR functionaries, they are all facing and coming out with new and new challenges, how to connect all their workforces so that they are all motivated and they all give required performance. So as we all know, the great late Devang Mehta once said that now are the days coming where you need roti, kapda, makan, and bandwidth. So that statement stands true in current scenario, where none of us can live without internet, without connectivity. Having said that, there are lots of macro trends which are uh, generating and created during this time. And we popularly say ACPC, after Corona, before Corona. So before Corona, what we were doing, what we have expected, let's say in January or in December. But after Corona, we all don't know that what would be our future. And fortunately, our industry, IT industry, is not that much affected. But ultimately, we are also service companies to manufacturing and to retail industry. So in a way, we are also affected. Uh, but all those trends which are emerging, which have emerged after this pandemic, I think that those are all true for any industry. And if I can name those trends, like we all know, but distributed work places, where we all know that company are allowing work from home strategy, but now work from anywhere kind of strategy is also being implemented in many companies, so that people can travel from one home to another home or one office to another office, so that they get that change. Because sitting in one place at home, there are lots of issues arising, and you people, all HR people, you know those pain. So many HR companies or HR executives, they are coming out with that what should be the work from home tips, how employees can react and can work so that they are motivated and they give a good performance. So work from home strategy, work from anywhere strategy is coming into the place, and lots of solutions are being built up. Then performance monitoring and tracking tools, because we are all now distributed in various places. So performance evaluation is very important. Along with performance evaluation, uh, performance and health aspect of any employee, that is also very important, because you don't know that when and where your employee would be affected, if not by corona, but by any other illness, and how your work will be affected. So that solutions are taking place. And evolving newer workplaces kind of environment. We are into a big way into co-working space in Gujarat and outside Gujarat. People are coming out with newer ideas, where a company like our Devex, which install working environment like a pod at employees' home, so that they can sit into that pod, so that they get that office-like environment, and partially they can come to uh, office environment in a week, so that they get that kind of office environment experience as well. Another trend is a digital infrastructure, where we all know that increasing need of bandwidth and cybersecurity is another area where we are all concerned. And as far as IT and manufacturing industries are concerned, they are more uh, worried about their IP and their code and clients' data. So that trend is also picking up. Another, which is workplace transformation, as I told earlier, that new office space, office within your home, that trend is picking up. And within in office, how we can have a contactless a control system, so that there are minimum touch involved when people are coming to office. And last but not least, which is evolving engagement model, how you engage with your employees so they don't feel they are left out, they are not connected with the entire ecosystem. So new business strategies and segments have picked up, and new threat alerts also coming out that many employees, they think that their computers are not safe, so that we have to come out with a newer cybersecurity solutions. So all those things boils down to how your cloud strategies, how your remote usage strategy, on-demand workforces strategies, because now government and industry, they are also pushing that you should avoid unnecessary hiring. But they are also pushing that do not lay off your people, because ultimately a trend says that within India, domestic market is picking up like anything. Not today, but after some time, domestic market will give you more and more revenue, if not overseas market. So retaining your workforce is another main thing. And how you renew your focus on a company's value, because when you are talking to your employees in the office, but now you have to talk to your employees through telephone, through video conferencing, how you connect and percolate your company's value so that they are all connected with a zeal, and they don't think that a company is looking for their replacement. So all those things are taking newer trends, and including cybersecurity and data security. There are newer trends like AI, BI, and IoT is another way where we see from industry perspective, there are newer trends are coming.
Super.
Thank you.
Very interesting. I think uh, it's quite vast. I think your expectation as a CEO and your vision as an entrepreneur, I see a vast vision and expectation, and clearly two perspectives that I see. One is the infrastructure, the digital infrastructure, and two is the emotional and the engaged connect with the employees. These are two themes that I clearly see emerging, and that's my question to Velu right now. In terms of the digital landscape for the country has suddenly, and all owing to COVID, we were anyways on our journey toward digital, being digitally savvy, but the whole journey has been expedited because of COVID. A blessing in disguise is rather not so good word to say for COVID, but unfortunately that is how I see it unfolding. What is your expectation and vision and visibility on the digital landscape in the country, Velu?
Thank you very much, Sandhya. I'm totally in agreement with you that this is a blessing in disguise. Yes, there are lives lost, and we're sorry for it. But at the same time, it's a much needed push that there would be no other way to expedite us. This would take 10 years to happen. What COVID is making it happen. Corporates have faith now that people can work from home. Even somebody like me, I would not do webinars for the longest time because I'm a person-to-person human being. I like to shake hands with real people. But COVID forced me to be here. And honestly speaking, I'm doing like 3 webinars a day from across the world. And it's amazing. I can meet so many people, and it's digital technology has just made the world even a smaller place, open up tremendous opportunities. You can, basically you can take payments from anywhere. It's just the potential is limitless. Now, what was supposed to happen and is going to happen is already happening, which is the gig economy. So jobs as we know it are changing and evolving. Many people are losing jobs. And as Kolkata Ventures, I can tell you, we have grown crazy amount because people are losing jobs and like, I'm not going back to that corporate rat race. I want to be my own boss. I want to do my own startup. And not everybody wants to do startups. Some people are want to do in consulting business. Some people want to just do freelancing. Some people want to have the gig economy where they can work on a Wednesday and not work on a Thursday and just earn as much as they want, right? And that is absolutely possible with the digital economy and the way things have evolved. This is a perfect time for COVID-19 to have happened, because India is really reaping the advantage. Every other country is, basically destroyed because they made everything from industrial revolution. We didn't get that opportunity of growing through industrial revolution, but we nailed the IT revolution. And because of that, we are the IT capital of the world. And as a result, when COVID has come in, there is lockdown, India is thriving, and India has the power to say, China, if you attack us, we're going to stop using our apps, and that's going to basically slash all your revenues like crazy, right? TikTok is practically dead because of India, right? So we have that power, we have the numbers, we have the IT crowd, we have the biggest English speaking population. So all the advantages are in our favor to become a superpower. And I think this is the perfect arrangement that could have happened. I mean, nothing better than this. Having said that, there are certain industries that we probably will need to have more time. For example, the hospitality industry, the travel industry, a lot of startups and a lot of companies in that domain are struggling. Coming up slowly, and some of the companies are already 30% to the level before COVID, and moving forward, right? But then there are the other side, the last mile delivery, the online grocery, the whatever that requires a phygital model, right? With more digital, less physical, they are doing really well. Even occult sciences and insurance, like astrology or insurance, because people are scared, so they're spending a lot of money in these domains, and those are again growing, and they're hiring people, right? So at least in Kolkata Ventures, I can tell you most of our digital businesses are hiring people. Even though the big businesses are shutting down shop, the startups are thriving. So it's a natural evolution of cleaning up the traditions, and really the change of direction of how work looks like, how the economy looks like in the upcoming future. And with 5G technology and all, automated cars, we're going to see more of that, more of automation, and more of digital economy and boost. And those of us who don't want to accept that are going to be left behind, or they have to learn new skills. And those who can adapt with it will be relevant in 2030, 2040, 2050.
I think I quite resonate with you, Velo, here. It is all about repurposing, reskilling, and getting into the in thing now, so to say. Whatever is now happening did not happen a while back in India, at least. And therefore, a big question, Jamin, to you, I think, and a typical HR question that I ask, how do you see the workforce transforming with respect to skills? That's one big time struggle that I foresee. And if we don't quickly shift gears, and from where I see heading an HR of a large organization, it's not really cost intensive, but effort intensive intervention that HR people will have to make to reskill and repurpose their entire organization. Like Avelo just mentioned, large business houses are kind of crumbling down, and you see small startups really gearing up for the new phase. And therefore, the people who are going to be left, probably, so to say, jobless out of large business houses, need to be redeployed, because finally the workforce is only that much. And hence, what is the kind of reskilling that is possible for people in shortest possible time with shortest possible resources? Jamin, what do you think?
As far as IT industry is concerned, we have started that curve before COVID, because there are many studies and many requirements were suggesting that we should enter into reskilling. As Alvin Toffler already said, that one has to unskill, reskill, so that we learn more and more technology. So that IT industry has already started a couple of years ago. But this is a time where we all IT industry companies, they are pushing their employees to go for more and more certification. And many IT companies, they have started incentivizing their employees for more and more certification. and how these companies are encouraging because of they are not most of Gujarat based IT companies and outside they have not gone for layoff. And what they did, they start skilling those people. They were less required into their company, or there were some pause with their customer base. So they started reskilling those people. And fortunately, same encouragement and same energy were shown by employees across IT industry. And as we all know, in IT industry, around 90% are still working from home, and still we are able to produce good productivity, and still we are able to produce good latest future ready technology. So this is all combined efforts by management as well as employee. And another good way which industry started, that many technology firm, they have started providing their content free of cost. Industry association like NASCOM, GACIA, they have started giving content and providing certification free of cost during this time. So these are all 360 or combined efforts encouraged management and owners like us or entrepreneurs like us, that whenever we are ready with newer opportunities, we know that we have sufficient skilled people with us. But this is not true. This might not be true with non-IT industry, where they need people physically. Uh, they are currently looking for people to come and work at their place because many of the migrant workers, they have gone out. So those people are using technology. But now, as a trend says and study says, that those companies who are providing this kind of technological background in their factory or in their office, they are attracting more laborers to their companies. Recently, just a day back, even Prime Minister also suggested the same to Niti Aayog and few technocrats during their video conference, that provide a technological support to your employees, your laborers, so that whenever we hit another lockdown, we don't want that, but if at all, then we are ready with technological help, and we are ready with the future skill ready laborers.
Understood. I think quite apt and quite insightful, Jamin. I'd like to take this conversation a little deeper on the non-IT front. While IT sectors are rather clear understanding for many people, and I'd like to ask Avelo this question from a non-IT organization. There is a challenge in, like Jamin was talking, non-availability of people. There is a challenge of even reduced output and reduced revenues for them, so people are not buying enough, and it's kind of a vicious circle that the economy is right now under. While IT and ITES firms are relatively thriving because of the whole new digital landscape that we've been experiencing, the non-IT part of it seems to be struggling. And what do you think, and how do you think, Velo, these organizations need to ramp up, and how can they use technology to ramp up? And a lot of their workforce is probably not used to technology all that much, and therefore a challenge from that perspective. What are your insights onto that, Velo?
Sure. See, there is no more IT and non-IT. Even a restaurant uses more IT than it used to be before. Everybody is using IT today to automate their workflow, to serve their customers better. So I don't think we live in that world of IT, non-IT anymore. Having said that, some people have not included tech-enabled scalability, while others have. Those who have, they're winning, and those who are not, they're struggling. So tech-enabled growth, automation, all of this is required. So I'll just give a little instance. So the last company that I had sold as an entrepreneur was a healthcare automation company in the United States. And basically what would happen is the doctors, you go to the doctor, you get a bunch of things done. It goes to the billing company, they fix all the errors, goes to the insurance pays a doctor. So what we were doing was automating the billing company, the billing process. And in the process, we were able to build software that what humans would do in 7 days could be done in 1/6 of a second. And not only that, it doesn't require any breaks, vacations, maternity leaves, nothing. It works 24/7. Like no salaries, no bonuses, right? So 90% of the people got fired from that company. Now, what you should be asking me is, what the 10% who couldn't be fired? And those are the relationship managers. Those are the people who interact with the doctors and tell them, you are okay, we're taking care of your billing. Don't worry about it. And the doctors have no clue that the billing company's profitability has gone through the roof. So what's happening here is, this is the future. Now, I felt terrible seeing all those people getting fired because of what I built. And as a result, I do a lot of the things I do today is skilling and whatnot, because I don't want that to happen to people. But this is a reality of the situation, that automation, if you don't have the skills, especially people in the 40s and 50s, automation is going to kill your job. So today we have to relearn not skills, but qualities. We have to become humans again. The right side of the brain is underutilized. We have been churning out engineers from India, which everybody are forced to use the left side of the brain, right? It's all about analytics. It's all about the mathematics and all of that. But the creative side, I mean, people might make fun of TikTok and Instagram and other things, but there are teenagers making serious money from those. Again, a small story, so it helps explain my point. There's a guy in Delhi, his name is Jay Kapoor. He came back home and his father said, "Beta, I lost my job and I'm in a lot of debt. I cannot pay your school tuition." He looked at his computer. He said, "I have internet, I have my computer, and computer has a camera. Let me start making videos of gadgets and reviews." He built a YouTube channel and he started doing reviews. And he's now 19 years old. He makes 10 lakhs a month. And he has never gone to college, never gone beyond middle school, not even high school, right? And he's making 10 lakhs a month. So people are making serious money from the right side of the brain. TikTokers, they're jobless now, but they're making shitload of money. Instagrammers are making shitload of money. Influencers are making a huge amount of money. And there are IT businesses around it, which are marketers are pouring in money into these influencers, micro influencers. So what I'm saying is everything is changing. And I don't know how else to explain this, but automation is reality. Automated cars, so there's going to be a lot of jobless drivers tomorrow. With 5G technology, teleporting is going to be a reality. Just like today we are in Zoom, tomorrow it's going to be a conference room with chairs with holographic 3D projections of all of us, seeing each other, how we dress and how we look, right? And that's already happening. So what I'm trying to say here is, in the non-IT, there is no such thing as non-IT, but if you are not there, please enable technology, please automate, and please reskill yourself in human qualities, become human again. Today, we are used to swiping right, swiping left, getting a hookup, or clicking on an app and getting our food, and this delivered and that delivered. We know how to click, especially men. If we look at it, women are doing much better than men. You know why? Because women are still human, and men have been overcome by this whole gadget mania. And that's why, even relationships are breaking up, because we want everything on instant, right? So that is stopping us from growing in our workforce as well. In the non-IT sector, we have to bring out that human nature, because negotiation, marketing, creativity, innovation, these are not that can be automated by technology, software, and IoT and robots. That is still always going to be humans. And if we can focus on those human qualities, we are going to be relevant always. If we forget about the human qualities, we are going to be jobless. So I think it's important to learn to say hi to the person next to us, to learn to be humans again, and use technology as an enabler. right? So use technology as enabler, but not the end all be all. We still need humans to make those decisions. We are humans who make, emotional decisions and rationalize it with logic. So that emotional aspect needs to be hit. And that's where marketing comes in. That's where negotiation, communication, all of those soft skills and whatnot comes in. And our generation especially has forgotten all about it, right? We are too used to mechanistic world life, every ears closed up, eyes closed up, we just don't know how to deal with humans. It's too difficult for us. But I think it's important those of us who do know this will be the winners in the future.
Understood. I think well said, Avelo. And it's a very strange thing while we are distantly probably connected. Even right now, we're talking of being able to ensure a human touch, and I think that's where the biggest challenge the organization, especially right now, are experiencing, and more so the HR folks, where how do I replace this human touch? And this is also one of the questions that the participants have asked, as to how, and my question to Jamin, therefore, how do I balance that, at two levels? One is ensure a personal touch in these times when I'm so devoid of a personal togetherness, and two, how do I balance it? Finally, workspace has intruded into my home and I see a struggle. While I say I'm trying to have a personal touch with you, I'm also intruding in your personal space through my professional expectations, and kind of a catch 22 situation for HR folks, where they have to be working out a fine balance. And that's a question that has been also asked by one of the participants here, as to how do you balance that, Jamin?
So you'll have to unmute yourself.
Yeah. Sorry. So that's really a biggest challenge. I think none of us has found any exact solution to address that particular question, because uh, whatever we do, as Avelo rightly said, that your personal touch, personal healing will play a major role. So that is missing right now. And that is why work from anywhere concept is also emerging, because uh, many companies, they think that employees should come to office so that they have that touch. They come out with that particular area where they are living, they are eating, and all those things has to break. And that is why work from anywhere concept arised. But we have to accept the reality that most of the companies and most of the families, they don't allow their loved ones to go out. So that we have to be connected with employee, if not personally, then digitally or emotionally. And that is why we should have more and more town halls, a meeting and a group meeting with your employees, if not your team leaders, but from management level as well. We also realized, we have not started that way back, but then realized after this particular pandemic happened, that it is highly required. And when we did the town hall, we really got an exceptionally good response from employees as well as from HR, that this gives lots of satisfaction to employee, that yes, company is taking care of their well-being. Uh, Everything is not boils down to money, because they also want some kind of importance. They also want some kind of emotional uh, 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 pep up on their shoulders, that yes, you are doing good. But in this time, what we do, we just send an email or a message that hey, you did a good job, but that pep up is not there. So by this way, having a town hall meeting, employee welfare programs, because most of the companies, if not they stop their or partially releasing their salary, but they are not giving incentives, they are not giving bonuses. So this kind of welfare programs will definitely push their moral high. Also talk to them in a reality. Most of the companies, they don't share actual reality, and they came out with a strategy, or they just fire those people, or they just stop their salary, and that will give you send a really wrong message across the company, and that is how your productivity got decreased, and that is how moral goes down. So these are all small thing where you connect each and every employee, if not a daily basis, but then on your social media page, where they share their emotions, they share their happy moments, they share their sorrow moments, so that we all can be a part of their happiness as well as their sad moments.
Rightly said that emotional connect, even though digitally, has to be felt at an emotional level, and leaders should be able to make that happen. Uh, and again, and this is probably here and now that we are experiencing, and you just mentioned, Jamin, that there are a lot of salary cuts that people are experiencing, and people are being forced to go on furloughs, uh, uh, and therefore an environment at a corporate level that is a mix of probably sadness, despair. And Avelo, my question to you here, taking on from what Jamin said, how should a business leader be able to motivate people despite having to take salary cuts? At one level, you've expected the employee to take a salary cut because that's matter of sustenance and survivability of the organization, and at the same time you want him motivated and productive. How do you marry the two situations? Vero, your perspective on that.
Sure. Every successful organization always has a purpose that is larger than the individuals in that organization. And if that purpose is clear, then this is the time that one can use that purpose to pull in the motivation. So for example, if an organization stands to create financial freedom in digital economy for its customers, then that's the thing you stand for. If an organization stands for providing healthcare to senior citizens, that's the larger picture what you stand for. And now is the time to really pull into that, because we are all in it together. It's not like the CEO is having fun while the employees are getting pay cuts. Everybody's suffering. In fact, the leaders are suffering more. They are taking the stabs on their back so the employees can be a little less affected. I mean, a good leader would do that. So the difference between a manager and a leader, all of you are HR folks, you know it better than me, right? A manager is somebody who's just gets the work done. A leader is somebody who inspires with something, a higher a vision, higher goal. And I think that is, if that is very clear, then employees would, and coming from the startup background, it's a very common thing in our world, because as you know, every little thing happens and investors get scared and there is no investment for startups. And you still have to go on. If you're a real entrepreneur, you still have to struggle through. And that struggling is fueled with the promoter, the entrepreneur's passion for the larger picture, and everybody believes in that larger picture. And they're like, okay, you know what, I'm going to take this pay cut, but I believe in this leader, and I know he will come out of it successfully. And at that time, he will make up for all the things we lack right now. And I think any good leader would do that. And our prime minister has been pushing that to a certain extent. Of course, the execution is screwed up in many ways than one can criticize, but still, I have seen that. I'm not part of any political party, but at the same time, I appreciate the way he has been motivating the country. And you can see that regardless of what political party people are in, they are encouraging the doctors, they are turning off the lights. So it's one way of the administration to also find out if people are reacting to the motivation, and people are reacting. So same thing can be done. If it can be done on 100 crore level, it can be also done on the organizational level, where the leader can really help. But it has to be a good leader who can show the bigger picture, that, you know what, we will get out of it. It's a temporary situation. And if you can pull through, we will all sustain. If you don't pull through, then we'll all die and nobody wins, right? So some people might have to be laid off. Some people might have to be put on temporary leave. But the point of all of that is somehow or other to sustain the company, because if the company leaves, everybody can be rehired back as the economy picks up. But if the company dies, we all die, right? So I think it's really it comes down to the leadership skill of the management in the companies. And if they can show that big picture, I don't think anybody's stupid. People understand that what's going on is never happened in the last 100 years.
Yeah.
And we are going through something that's nobody knows when this will end. So might as well stay together, win together, grow together, than split out and die alone.
Very rightly said. I think, yeah, I couldn't agree more, Avelo, with you that it is primarily a function of two things: how leadership is able to communicate the purpose of existence, which is beyond everything else, and to basically the way he or she is able to influence people. You know, you communicate the purpose and you influence the people in the right way. I think you're able to carry people farther. And I'm sure through the end of this pandemic, a good leader should be able to carry the flock together. There will be casualties on the way, unfortunately, but sooner we take, I think my take has always been, the sooner you take decisions, faster will be your ability to spring back into action and get the people back on board, probably the ones that you've left behind. So I quite agree with you, Avelu. I quite agree with you. I think moving gears, one scenario that I wanted to discuss slightly at length, and Jamin, the question to you in terms of post COVID, and I hope it's sooner than later. How's life back in office, or whether physically in office or work? How is it going to get transformed? What are your visions of post-COVID scenario? And we hope these are hopeful ones, pleasurable ones, not confined ones. So your perspective, future forward.
Yeah, sure. Let's hope. I'm keeping fingers crossed that uh, that time comes very near, so that we all can go to office, can meet people. Ultimately, leaders like to meet people instead of talking on digital platform. I agree with
And
Avelo
sorry,
on that
just
one.
and one more,
Yeah.
angle to it, that you have a business of co-working spaces. With that angle also, if you can throw some light. So while the first part of the question and the second part of the question.
Okay, so new normal, I think all office space will be different. Uh, I don't know how different it would be, because in this pandemic scenario, we have been thinking and suspecting each and every individual. Uh, so new normal will bring lots of disruption to your office space. I don't know how much, but might be a rotational level of engagement would be there, where people will be allowed to come in an office for a particular days, so that they have rotation and they are engaged with the team. Might be distributed office space where uh, uh, co-working. I'll blend both the questions into my answer, that co-working will play a major role, because all those headache, sanitization of your office, then uh, keeping proper distancing, then having a lunch area or food area, all kind of thing will be taken care by those co-working people. So all those things will play a major role. And I think a new community engagement concepts, HR and many companies have to come out with newer ideas. Currently, I don't have any answer to those community engagement program, but newer ideas will come uh, where you connect with your employees. Uh, I think newer contracts with the customers where hybrid kind of situation is allowed within your contracting period, or a contractual employment will play a major role. In short, if I can give answer to your question, I'm not sure about what would be the new normal in office environment.
I truly understand where you're coming from. There, these are probably in definitive times. We are still trying to find our foot in the current thing. Difficult to look at a future forward, but probably available to you. How do you see, and what are your and especially for HR people and my teams, I keep on saying, with one foot in today, keep an eye on tomorrow, because sooner or later things are going to be coming to a new normal. And how will you transform yourself and organizations then? And then sometimes I struggle. They say, what do I do? And I say, okay, I'll come back to you. Exactly like Jamin. But Avelo, what are your thoughts? What do you tell your clients, and what do you tell your startups for a new normal?
Again, like I said, for us, it's been a positive thing, because the world is a playground now. We don't have to say. So I used to have office in Delhi and Hyderabad. I closed both of them. I'm just keeping Calcutta, because the rest is, I can be anywhere. Like Jamin very rightly said, why work from home? Work from anywhere you want, right? So I'd rather be on a beach in Goa or someplace. Because so when I was, I think a year or 2 years ago, 91 Springboards, the whole management team moved to Goa. And I was like, what are they doing? All their offices, co-working spaces are in NCR. And turns out they're managing perfectly from Goa. And they already started that. And many companies have done that. So work from anywhere you want. So I'm very happy that this has happened. And I don't, as much as, again, Jamin very rightly said, people like to, not just leaders, but anybody likes to meet other human beings. But you don't have to work with people only you meet in person. I have always been in the US working with China, never met those people, send 6 figures, 7 figures, and got work done without ever meeting them. Still haven't met them in my life. And I'm used to that. I think with the new normal, I think that's going to be a norm, and that's okay. And that's wonderful. I don't see anything wrong with it. I think it's just what it is. We shouldn't try to, Bill Gates says something nice. He said, we overestimate what will happen in 5 years, and we underestimate what will happen in 10 years. And I think that's the right thing, because we don't have to extrapolate things too far and wide. It's just what it is. And we are evolving in that direction. We are going in digital payments, digital work, digital everything. And so it's going to be digital, but more digital than physical. And it's okay. It's great. And technology is also evolving. It's not like technology is stuck. So we are going to have better experiences of the physical elements while being digital. So there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's fantastic.
Awesome. So
India is going to win. That's the best part, because we are ahead of everybody else in this department.
Superb. And that actually helps us end on a very positive note. And if I were to sum up the learnings from the session, I think a couple of takeaways for me is to repurpose, reskill, be ready for a different way of working when a new normal comes about. And I think most importantly for HR people to be able to ensure technology enablement, and therefore reskilling of your team. It need not be necessarily a high funder training that you need to send your people to, but the whole concept of technological savviness, I think, is what at a cultural level organizations need to bring about. Hopefully we are going to be in a new normal sooner than we know and we anticipate. Peterson, would you want to lead through the questions? I think we've addressed almost all the questions that were raised to us by a lot of you through the conversation. If there are anything else, we've got another minute or so that we can take up. Peterson, over to you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Sandeep, for facilitating this discussion so well and taking up significant number of questions. Thank you, dear panel members, Mr. Jaimin and Mr. Reveloy, for an insightful webinar. We see that we have taken almost all the questions. We can definitely conclude. So before we conclude today's session, we would also want to thank all the association for supporting HRAI event. That's Geisha IT Association. Geisha is the ICT window of Gujarat in the world and nurtures, fosters, and tracks the ICT industry of Gujarat. It is the only state-level association for electronics, software, IT, ITES, PPO, KPO, LPO, telecom, ISP, networking, and IT education, which is recognized by the government of Gujarat. Federation of Gujarat Industries was founded in the year 1918. It is one of the oldest active socially conscious industrial associations in the country. The Federation of Gujarat Industries aimed at promoting, protecting, and projecting the interest of industries and also catering to the needs of the community at large. NASSCOM COE Gandhinagar. NASSCOM was announced by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in July 2015 as a part of Digital India initiative to jumpstart the IoT ecosystem, taking advantage of India's IT strength in the country. The Center of Excellence of IT India at IIT Gandhinagar, Gujarat, is a Digital India initiative to jumpstart the IoT ecosystem in India, taking advantage of India's IT strength and help country attain a leadership role in the convergent area of hardware and software. Bharat Nirman. Bharat Nirman was set up in early 1980 and was registered as a charitable and public utility organization on 9th June 1980. The main objective with which the society was set up was to revive all ancient Indian science and propagate Indian way of culture and development. LMA Lucknow. Lucknow Management Association was formed as a local chapter of AIMA in 1976. Establishment of IIM at Lucknow in 1984 gave flip to LMA's endeavors in profiliation of management knowledge and taking the management movement forward. Thank you once again, dear panel members and our participants, for joining us today. Do join us for our next webinar on the 27th of July 2020, where we would have our panel addressing transforming organization culture. Thank you so much. We now conclude with the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.